Hello everyone. I hope you are having a great day. So, before starting with this, I want you to imagine how many of you work as a data analyst or worked on creating lot of data visualization or something to show it to either your colleagues or business? So, quite a lot number. So, uh, I'm not here to teach you how to create this visualization, but how to create a story out of it so that if you show it to anyone, then they would be able to understand within seconds. So that's what we want, right? So let's just before moving ahead, a brief introduction about me. I am Purva Porwal. I am from India. I work in a fintech firm as an AI manager, as an architect, as in I work on developing lot of AI based applications on different use cases in the banking products and provide them as a production grade prototype. And I have worked across various domains in telecom, finance, etc. from the last 10 years. And I am curious about learning new things. So whatever technology interests me, I just read about it and like to share knowledge of the same. So let's move forward again with the storytelling. So what's a story? So story is simple. Like any story, there first of all there is a character introduction. Then it after character introduction, it there is some context, and then the flow. It gets into the flow, right? In a normal story, I'm not talking about any data related thing. And then at the end there is some climax or something like hero defeating the villain or something like that. Then we find it interesting, right? So similarly, in any data story, it's a similar framework. We have we we want to get the context. Then what's the change? Suppose, so as a human brain, we if we see any visualization, we try to focus on what's the change in this graph. Suppose there is some trend going on. If there's a sudden spike, our notice will be on that spike. So that change. And then lastly, why should I care about this? If we have, let's say, as a data analyst, we have given n number of visualization, 10 visualization on a dashboard. So why should someone be concerned about those? What you want to convey out of it? So that's what we will see in as part of this story. So this is how a story is made. First of all, context, like in your normal story characters. Then what's the change, means how's the story is flowing here in terms of data, what are the insights you want to say. And then finally, why should I care, as in what's the conclusion out of it. For example, let's say there is a dashboard which says sales dropped by 20%. So that's all. Then another one which is depicting sales dropped by 20, and why, in which region it's dropped, and why is it dropped. So if all the three things you are able to convey by the dashboard, then that's what a story is. So let's move ahead. So I already explained this. So in data storytelling, telling we should be having three things: data, visuals as in right visuals, and narrative. So narrative will come at the end once you create normal data visualization. So what insights you want to convey out of it. So it's not just we already create what as in we already create lot of data visualizations, but why we are create like using them, that matters. So we'll be highlighting the change patterns and conveying the insights. Now, what's the problem with normal data visualization? So this is a simple matplotlib chart. It looks very good, right? There's no problem. Anyone can see any problem in this? Yeah, but like I like colors. So I want my dashboard to look colorful and beautiful. But now suppose I have shared this visualization to business, and there are 5 people. Now what's the problem with this? So everyone will have their own perspective towards it. For example, I am interested in only tech sector, so I'll just see tech related details in it. If someone else is interested in something else, they would see. So everyone will have a different perspective, but uh, it's it has lot of data, all the information is there, but there's no common conclusion. There might be a case that whatever I want to convey, others are not uh, others are understanding it in different way. So we'll see, like, this is where data storytelling comes in the picture. We create the data visualization, but how to convey what we want to convey. So now, before that, why to use Python for data storytelling? So we create data visualizations. We have a lot of tools available, right? Like Power BI, Tableau, and a lot of other tools are also there. So why should we use Python for data visualization? In general, machine learning engineers or data scientists, we use Python for after model training to display to display the model performance, etc., via matplotlib and all these packages. But one more important aspects of using Python packages are that these are we will have full control over it. In normal Power BI tools, those are excellent. If anyone is non-technical person, they can just drag and drop and create the data visualization. But if we want full control of our visuals, and if you want to embed those visuals, embed or integrate it to our application, like web application, then everything will be in same repository. In single repository we can integrate these visuals plus our code. Whereas if we use any other tool, then we need to learn about those tools, right? And to integrate those tools, uh, we need to embed, like to integrate those tools, we have to create a setup for it, for anything as a plugin in our code. And so that's why if we want everything in one place, logic plus data visualization, suppose in your web application you want to show some image as well, so instead of creating that image in another tool and then downloading it, we can simply create in our using basic Python packages and embed it and display it in the web app. So that's why we'll be seeing these Python packages. Now, before before moving to these packages, there is some theoretical thing like Gestalt principle. So these are just it's a common principle, not like on based on some specific technology. It's like how these principles shows how a normal human brain organizes or sees the visual. This is a common theory, not related to any technique like technology. So you can see in this figure, so in this left side, if I see this line chart uh, as a as a, as a first impression, I can see I need to see line A, then I need to find which one is line A. I need to see in legend and then I need to find. Similarly for line B and C, I need to see, okay, where is line B? Like that, there is some friction right here and there. Whereas another one, I have given the information straight away in front of that. So we don't need to move here and there. We can directly see the info here. So this is a small thing, but it it takes somewhat less time for your audience or end user to understand. So this is one of the example. So these are some basic principles. There are some more, but first one is like proximity as in group related things. If some data points, or not points, if some things are nearer together, then we as a natural tendency, we try to group them, like so that's what, like grouping of related things. If some data points, let's say there are some 10 data points, those are placed nearer, and remaining 3 4 are bit far away. So in a natural tendency, we will will assume that those are not part of group. So same like similarity, where is like consistent styling. So these are just principle, but after this I'll show you the examples how it's useful in our data visualization. And connection, if there's a point A and point B, and if there's a line going between them, it automatically we understand it as a there is some relationship between point A and point B. So that's what connection. And emphasis means how we can guide the attention of the user towards the visual or towards the insight that we want to show. So these are some principles which are followed in data storytelling, or in a better visualization. Okay, so this is also one more point, as in continuation of that gestalt. So clutter versus clarity. So how we can make our data visuals clear. So remove whatever is not required, whatever in your data visual is not giving any information. We just need to remove it. It's not like we should remove everything, but whatever is not giving information. For example, here these borders, these are not doesn't add any meaning to the visual, so we can remove it. I'll quickly show an example of this. So this is a simple matplotlib plot. Now you see this looking somewhat clear, right? It's following the simple basic this gestalt principle. What I have done is, in this one there was this lines, I removed it, then reduce this bar width, and this grid lines were too evident, so just clear it. So I have made it bit clearer, so that we want users to focus on bar plot, not on grid lines. Correct. So same I have used same matplotlib. I am not going into this code. Okay, I'll just zoom in a bit. I hope it's visible. So I just using matplotlib, I have removed this borders and done some line styling and proper, like just some basic formatting, and done. It's looking more clearer. Next is proximity and grouping. That's what I was talking about. So here this is the same data points, no difference, just smart way of creating two groups. So I just skipped one, just for this example. This is a very basic example, so I just skipped one scale to make it look like a group segregation. I'll show one more example. So these are the multiple trend chart lines, very beautiful colors, but I am not able to understand what's happening here. Probably you also would be confused, right? So this is the clear version of this, highlighting what matters. Again, here we can see these are the same data points, same lines, but we can see clearly, it's very evident here, and user focus will be on that particular point. So these are small design principles that we can follow to improve our storytelling. Then next, I'll show you some code examples. So I have given these examples in this Git repository, so you can refer this. I'll come back to this slide again. First of all, I'll show you the examples. So Okay. So this is very basic data set where there are different programming languages over the last 20 years, and as a data analyst you have been given a task to identify the rise of, or to identify the popularity of Python language from the last 20 years. So this is our task. So we can create a normal bar plot to show how Python has been popular among other languages from last 20 years. And another option is, if we can show this kind of normal animation. So you can see here it's very evident, and everyone's focus is on Python because that's what we wanted to show, correct? So this is how storytelling happens. Now here I haven't used any external tools or packages. I'll just show what I have used. So this is normal Plotly. In Plotly there is one package, Plotly Express. Using that you can create animations, and it can be dynamic. You can integrate it in your web application if you want to display such kind of animations in your web apps. So this is normal plot. Some pandas um, data pre-processing and cleaning. Then here I have used this Plotly Express. Given some layout and template, transition duration. We can do a lot of things out of it. Also we can create a mp4 video, mp4 format video, and display, or download it and use it wherever we want. There is an option of saving it as a html in html format to use it anywhere in your application. So this is one example. Another example is okay. So there is some knowledge graph. So nowadays one term is very popular, knowledge graph in AI field, because we have lot of data and we want to see and connect those data points, and there are various databases available. uh, so there's lot of work going on knowledge graph. Now if we have like our application, this is very basic example, but it's a small set of like knowledge graph which we can create for us instead of using any third party tool, using Python packages. So here suppose we have an application in which there are a lot of microservices. So our application has different components such as mm, API gateway, PostgreSDB, UI, authentication service, LLM service, and VectorDB. This is very basic, like we can say a RAG application. Now, if we want to see how microservices are performing, and if we want to see it visually, we can create such kind of service network. Now, here in this application, there are only 5 to 6 services, but in real applications we have lot of microservices, as in lot of different components, and more than 15-20 services. And in production environment we need to see how they are performing. So we can give here like we can give dynamic data to it, like what's the latency, how much is the speed, what requests per second. So all this data we can give, like from either from your Splunk, or if anyone have worked on backend. So there are a lot of tools which shows how your servers are performing, how microservices are performing. But for a quick reference, if we want to see it, then we can create it in Python itself. So here this red arrows, these are like these are critical paths. That is why those are like defined as red. So we should in this visual, uh, it is showing that this status of this needs to be taken care more properly. So if anyone will hover over and use this figure, they would be able to understand that this API gateway is the main point. It's looking like that, right? So it means that lot of services are dependent on this API gateway. If it failed, then there are chances that this application will be get affected mostly. So how this is built? So this is not just drag and drop and circle. So there is a Python package available for creating such network graphs. So there are two packages used here. PyVis. PyVis is a package for this kind of data visualization, and another one is NetworkX. Network Network to create that graph. So I'll quickly show. So I have taken all this hard-coded sample data, but you can integrate it in your application and give it dynamic data. So I'll show here I am creating the network and then building the graph, adding these nodes. So these are called as nodes. All these are called as nodes. These connectivities are edges. These are common terminology in knowledge graphs. So we can do this hovering and things in Plotly if we want to make this easy. And there is in NetworkX package, it works on some physics concepts. For example, there are these three parameters: gravity, central gravity, and spring length. So based on that, if 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 I increase this value of gravity, like if I increase as in towards 0, so then these nodes will come together like that. And central so to uh, to improve this visualization, we can modify these parameters. Like if the spring length will be more, then your knowledge graph will spread across like that. So if there are so many nodes, we can adjust these parameters. And hovering and all those things are done using PyVis. So this is another example, like how we can simplify our that microservice monitoring by visuals. Another one more example I just want to show, and that's the last one. So this okay. So these are some complex backend logs that we come across if we have to do debugging in your production environment on Linux server. So we can simplify this process by converting it into this network graphs. So this is just an example we can use. So I'll show just one last example. So I have taken a normal finance data. Here also used Plotly and Ruptures. Now Ruptures is a package. It is used in finance for identifying any trend change, or if there's any change in your data points. Ruptures can identify it, not just in finance, in any data. If you want to suppose in stock prices, if there's a spike, if there is a deflection, so Ruptures can identify that. So that's a package available in Python. So I just created uh, there are different models available. Now how Rupture is identifying that, it's using different pre-trained models to identify the changes in your data. So right now I have used this RBF, but this RBF model to identify breakpoint in my financial data. But there are some other models which we can use on use case basis. So I have taken, so if I go from the beginning, I have taken a normal Apple stock price data. It's it's an open source data set, and then I want to plot, I want to create a live plot of it. So let me run it. So actually this is live plot. Now this is created. I want to show the rupture part. So using this rupture, I have created a breakpoint. Like in stock charts, breakpoints are very useful. So this is not that clean because lot of cleaning, as in lot of modifications we can do. So whenever there is any upside trend going on in that stock, it's creating a breakpoint there. Now next thing is you can feed that breakpoint data to your next systems, or else directly also, if there is no breakpoint, then user will get confused, right, that where to see, or but if there's a clear breakpoint, we can also create a hover over there to show the values, that what's the stock value and what at what time it is. So these things are created using ruptures in trend charts. Okay, so I'll move back to presentation. So you can take a picture of this. This is the Git repo where this code is available. And coming to conclusion, so these are the packages used: Plotly, Matplotlib, NetworkX, Ruptures, and the conclusion is we can start with creating any normal data visualization, but if we want to give insights to our user and to guide our user to what we want them to show, so we can do this small changes following the Gestalt principles that I have shown, and improve your design so that automatically user will be able to understand it by themselves. So you don't need to explain it, they will figure it out by themselves by within seconds. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.